having different takes in regards to what the leagues ought to do when we have this pandemic, but we will be talking about that later on. I will be speaking with the Chess Kenya president. He is here in studio with us. He will be telling us what they have been doing, but at the same time, even the chess, it has been affected also on the bad books. It seems like Corona, literally, it is playing a dirty game. So we will be engaging and we will know what exactly is happening. At the same time, I know issues to do with football, issues to do with the payment of Adel Amruche, the 109 million Kenyan shillings that is owed to him by the FKF. What exactly is the situation when we talk about that? Trust you me, you will have, and you'll have that and much more in today's segment of KTN SCORELINE. But where do we start? We will start with this issue to do with coronavirus. And yes, it is a reality. It has affected quite a number of sporting activities here in the country. And as Rotunu Konyike now report, it is an issue that every sportsman and also non-sportsmen and women needs to take with a lot of seriousness, with different Kenyans having different opinions in what the different leagues, the different games ought to do, while we say we are facing this reality head-on.
That is, the coronavirus has continued to wreak havoc globally. And in Kenya's sporting cycles, the postponement of the Kenya Open Golf Championships, a European Tour event, brought the scare home. A move to suspend all international events made by the government was made as a precautionary measure against the rampantly spreading virus. With the ban in place, Athletics Kenya has gone ahead to suspend all clearance and travel arrangements for assignments abroad. The national women's beach volleyball team, scheduled for Nigeria for the second round of the Olympic qualifiers, also took a back seat. And in another recent development, the World Cup 2021 repechage qualifier between Kenya and Colombia that was to be held in Nairobi on 8th April has been suspended.
All activities cannot stop out of fear. So of course, necessary measures should be put in place, and we have to give some trust to the people who are putting the measures in place, that they are doing their job and they are doing the right thing and they are doing it for the interest of the people they are working for. So yes, the planned activities in June and later on in Kenya for the under-20 activities, sporting activities, I think should go ahead as planned.
Unfortunately, you never plan for pandemics. Coronavirus came out of nowhere. A month ago we were not thinking about it. Now it's caused cancellation of sporting events. Countries are being declared flight risks. Basically, economies are not so much feeling the punch, but there's a steady decline in economic development, which includes, let's say, China, for example, is a huge manufacturer of sports gear, sportswear. China is no longer exporting the gears to countries, which means clubs are losing out on selling merchandise. So it is being felt, not so much by us, again I say, by the countries that have been declared high-risk areas due to the coronavirus. I mean, that's quite something for them.
Kenya is still hopeful and is getting ready to host two major global events, that is the World Athletics Continental Tour in May and the World Under-20 Championships in July.
If we are having the US postponing the NBA championships, we are having England, Europe postponing matches, what readiness is this they are talking about? They need to probably clearly clarify that these are the steps we are taking. At the moment, I don't think we're ready, personally, because there's nothing. What readiness? What are they doing? Are they going to have everybody sanitize themselves as they enter the stadium or something? Even that is not a guarantee that the virus won't spread amongst guys. So I think being ready, first of all, means probably waiting for the World Health Organization to give us a way forward on, how to tackle this virus.
Considering that Kenya is a third world country, and you'll realize that it will really affect most of us. And that's why the government just needs to do its best to contain the disease.
Globally, a number of sporting events have been affected, with the latest casualty being the NBA, which has been postponed until further notice. In football, matches continue to be played without spectators and under closed doors, while some leagues have already been postponed and or cancelled.
The nature of a stadium is that people will be close together, there will be a lot of interaction, people will be moving about, even getting into the stadium alone. So there's a high risk of people spreading the coronavirus, this particular on COVID, from person to person if they are in that closed gathering. So that's why it is advised that if it is not necessary, then you try as much as possible to reduce this social gathering so that you minimize the spread of coronavirus from one person to the other.
Alafu pia ni game kuchezwa bila mafans, maplayer wanasaika, inakuwa ni noma, inakuwa ni kazi zoezi, unaona. Hata zoezi ingine inakuwa na mafans, so game kuchezwa bila mafans ni tricky sana.
Nonetheless, an issue that arises from this is the risk of stigmatization.
The notion, the assumption that you're Chinese, you probably, or you're from a certain place, you're probably at more risk to contract and maybe to transfer the virus to me. Unfortunately, there will be a lot of stigmatization to players who have nothing to do with the virus to begin with.
I know this is a major issue that the World Health Organization, public health officials, even here in Kenya, are grappling with, where people even remotely suspected of having coronavirus, COVID-19, are isolated and stigmatized by other people. And the message is that isolate the virus, not the person.
The virus continues to go on rampage, with some of the casualties being Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta, Chelsea winger Callum Hudson-Odoi, Nottingham Forest and Olympiacos owner Evangelo Marinaki, Utah Jazz player Rudy Gobert and Juventus centre-back Daniel Rugani, who have all tested positive. The spread of the coronavirus has showed no signs of slowing down, and already sports has come out as one of the most affected parties. But even with plans in place to try and mitigate the situation, a lot is still at stake. Rotuno Konyike, KTN Sports.
I think